Welcome to NFL Nexus. The Chicago Bears, what a story. They literally went from the bottom of their division to the top in a single season. It's an incredible turnaround. But here's the real question we've got to ask. Are they on the verge of a Super Bowl dynasty, or was this just a flash in the pan? Well, the answer really lies in what happens over the next few months, in a series of crucial, high-stakes decisions the front office has to nail to keep this championship window from slamming shut. So today, we're going to dive deep and break it all down.
Let's just kick things off with a quote that perfectly captures the energy in Chicago right now. NFL analyst Bucky Brooks put it perfectly. Considering the Bears just went from worst to first, the future looks extremely bright. And yeah, that's a powerful statement that totally validates what all the fans are feeling. But is it really that simple? Is a bright future guaranteed? Or are there some hidden traps that could derail this whole thing? Let's find out.
And that right there is the key. After a season that was, let's be honest, absolutely stunning, not just winning the NFC North, but fighting all the way to the divisional round of the playoffs, the Chicago Bears are no longer a team that's rebuilding. Nope, they have arrived. This is a complete culture change for the franchise, and the experts, not just the fans, are finally taking some serious notice of this young team's incredible leap forward.
But here's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Does building a champion mean you have to go out and break the bank in free agency? As we're about to see, the road to hoisting that Lombardi trophy isn't always paved with blockbuster contracts and splashy headlines. This is the central puzzle we're digging into today, that constant push and pull between huge ambition and the cold, hard reality of the NFL salary cap.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. We need to understand exactly why there's so much legitimate hype building in Chicago, and what specific pieces fell into place to make this happen so quickly. What were the real catalysts for this huge transformation?
And it all starts with the guy under center. Caleb Williams, the former #1 overall pick, really started to deliver on all that immense promise. Look, he wasn't perfect every single week, what rookie is. But like Bucky Brooks points out, he showed that special, uncoachable magic, especially when the lights were brightest. Just think back to that game-winning drive against the Packers in Week 18 to clinch the division. That's the kind of cool-headed play that made scouts fall in love with him in the first place.
Now here's what's really interesting. It's not just about the quarterback. A great QB needs great weapons. And just look at the arsenal Williams has at his disposal. You've got the established #1 guy in DJ Moore, the explosive rookie Roma Odunze, and a serious threat in the slot with Luther Burden III. And then you go and add the dynamic duo at tight end with Colston Loveland and the super reliable veteran Cole Kmet. This group didn't just improve the passing game, they ignited it, consistently creating explosive, game-changing plays. But look, a championship team can't be one-sided. You simply cannot win a Super Bowl with offense alone. And on the other side of the ball, the defense has been just as critical, maybe even more so in this turnaround. Under the guidance of Dennis Allen's aggressive scheme, this unit went from being a weakness to a true game-wrecking force that consistently shut down opponents and, most importantly, took the football away.
And this one single number, it says it all. #1. Leading the entire league in takeaways is just a staggering championship-level achievement. This means the defense wasn't just bending but not breaking. No, they were actively ending drives, stealing possessions, and giving their explosive offense short fields and more chances to put points on the board. That is the definition of complementary football. That's how you win, and win consistently.
But with great success comes, well, great challenges. And this is where the dream meets reality. Let's move on to the really tough decisions the front office is staring down right now. Because in the NFL, success always, and I mean always, comes with a price tag. And in Chicago, that bill is coming due.
So with all these incredible pieces in place, the path forward seems pretty clear, right? You've got your franchise quarterback on a cheap rookie deal, you have an arsenal of young offensive weapons, and a defense that leads the league in taking the ball away. The foundation is totally set. What could possibly be the problem?
Well, here's the problem. That number right there, and more specifically, that little minus sign in front of it, changes everything. According to the current projections, the team isn't just tight on cash. They're actually in the red, over the salary cap by more than $5 million. This creates a massive, immediate financial hurdle before they can even think about adding new players or, and this is crucial, re-signing their own guys.
And that really tough cap situation gets exponentially more difficult when you look at this.
Several key starters from that #1 takeaway unit we were just celebrating. We're talking about impact players, the heart of that secondary like Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, plus a key special teams guy in Nashawn Wright. They're all set to hit the open market. Just keeping that defensive core together is going to be a monumental challenge.
This really forces the team into a very specific corner. They can't just throw money at problems like some other teams might be able to. Every single move has to be calculated. They have to make incredibly smart, efficient, value-driven decisions to not just hold on to their roster, but somehow improve it. And that brings us to a perfect case study of this exact philosophy in action.
Okay, let's dive into the running back room to see this entire challenge play out in real time. This one position group gives us a fascinating look into the tough choices the Bears have to make between their own proven talent and all the shiny and often overpriced toys on the free agent market.
This right here, this is the core concept that is going to define Chicago's entire offseason. And let's be really clear about this. It's not about being cheap. It's about being ruthlessly efficient with every single dollar on your salary cap. It's about finding players whose on-field production is actually better than their price tag. So how does this philosophy apply specifically to the running back position for the Bears?
To really get the dilemma, we have to start with what the Bears already have in their building. And in DeAndre Swift, they have a highly productive, incredibly versatile running back. Now, his $8.8 million cap hit is pretty significant, but look at what you get for it. Advanced analytics, specifically from Sumer Sports, show he was one of the most effective backs in the entire league, ranking right up there with stars like Jonathan Taylor in expected points added. Now, if you're not familiar, EPA basically measures how much a player directly contributes to scoring on any given play. So essentially, Swift was making plays that directly led to points. He was a cornerstone of what was already the NFL's third-best rushing attack. So the crucial question becomes this. When you already have this level of known production, a player who perfectly fits your scheme and is loved in the locker room, how do you justify moving on from him to chase an expensive unknown in free agency? It becomes this really careful balancing act between the comfort of a known thing and the temptation of a potentially tiny upgrade. And that brings us to our first comparison. A player who's been rumored to be on the Bears' radar, the Jaguars running back Travis Etienne. He's a talented player, a former first-round pick, there's no doubt about that. But the question isn't, is he good? The real question is he a smart value for Chicago? When you put their numbers side by side, the picture gets a lot clearer. So, yeah, Etienne does have a slight 1.5% edge in explosive plays, which is nice. But look at the most basic efficiency number, yards per carry. Over the last 3 years, Swift has averaged 4.5 yards per carry compared to Etienne's 3.9. That 0.6 yards per carry difference is actually pretty significant over a full season. And while Etienne is known as a better pass blocker, is that one specific skill really enough to justify a change, especially when you're giving up that much efficiency on the ground?
Because that change comes at a very, very steep price. Projections have Etienne commanding a salary of over $11 million per year. For a team that's already over the cap like the Bears, paying millions more per year for a player who is quantifiably less efficient on a down-to-down basis, it just doesn't make any sense from a value-based perspective. All right, now let's talk about a truly different caliber of player, an explosive, top-tier talent, Breece Hall from the New York Jets. If you're looking for a home run hitter who can legitimately change a game on a single play, he is absolutely that guy. The dude is electric.
So while Hall is undeniably a game breaker, what's fascinating is that when you look at the raw efficiency numbers, DeAndre Swift has actually been the more consistent back. Swift had a higher yards per carry average than Hall last season, and he even has a higher mark for his entire career. Sure, Hall would definitely add a different top-end gear of explosiveness, but you'd be sacrificing some of that consistent chain-moving efficiency that Swift provides. And the price for that top-tier explosiveness is just astronomical. At a projected $12.3 million per year, he becomes a pure luxury item. He's an incredible player, one of the best in the league, for sure. But for a team with negative cap space and other really pressing needs, he is simply not an efficient use of their very limited resources.
Okay, let's look at another top name on the market, the Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker III. He's coming off a fantastic career year and is absolutely going to get paid this offseason. But again, with value-based team building, we have to look deeper than just one great season. We have to look at the whole picture.
Walker is probably going to get a big contract based mostly on his production in 2025, but the data suggests it might be a classic case of a player getting overvalued because he had a great year right before his contract was up. Swift was actually more efficient last season, averaging 0.3 yards per carry more than Walker. And when you look at their careers, Swift has consistently been a more dynamic and explosive threat in the passing game. So, Is it really worth the risk to pay for Walker's peak year and just hope he can do it again? Because with Walker, you'd likely be paying over $9 million a year for a player who, outside of that one great season, hasn't consistently matched the all-around production that DeAndre Swift has already proven he can give you in your own system. It's a very risky bet on a player repeating a career year.
Finally, let's consider a totally different type of running back, a more physical, bruising, downhill runner in Javonte Williams from the Dallas Cowboys. He brings a completely different style, a hammer to Swift's scalpel. But does that different style bring more value to Chicago? In this quote right here, it just perfectly illustrates a key moment that I'm sure Bears fans remember vividly. It's not just about stats. It's about critical plays and big games. And that crucial turnover, forced by a Bears defender, highlights potential ball security issues that you absolutely have to factor into any serious evaluation. It's a big red flag.
When we compare their skill sets directly, the trade-off becomes really stark. Williams is a physical, between-the-tackles guy, but he's pretty much a non-factor in the passing game, compared to Swift, who's a premier receiving threat out of the backfield. The projected salary for Williams is around $7.3 million, so the ultimate question is this: would saving about $1.5 million be worth losing the massive, dynamic contribution that Swift provides to Caleb Williams and the Bears' passing attack? The answer seems pretty obvious.
Okay, let's bring this all together now. Let's connect this really specific, detailed running back analysis back to the Bears' larger, overarching strategy for not just reaching a Super Bowl, but building a team that can win one, and maybe even more. Because it's these seemingly small decisions that actually reveal a team's entire philosophy.
So when you look at all the evidence, a really clear blueprint for success emerges. It's a disciplined, analytical approach to building your roster. You build around your young franchise QB, you accept your financial reality, you prioritize keeping your own proven high-value players like DeAndre Swift, you avoid that temptation of overpaying for tiny gains in free agency, and you keep supplementing your roster through the draft, finding those cost-controlled gems like Kyle Monangai in the later rounds. It sounds like a winning formula, doesn't it?
This quote from Gene Chamberlain just perfectly summarizes the logic here. The Chicago Bears had the third-best rushing attack in the entire league last season with DeAndre Swift as the lead back. The running game is emphatically not broken. Therefore, there's absolutely no logical reason for a costly, high-risk overhaul at the position.
And this, right here, is ultimately why all of this matters so much. This isn't just about one running back. Making the smart and sometimes unpopular decision to stick with a player like Swift over a bigger name in free agency is exactly the kind of move that separates the good teams who might have one great year from the true champions who can build a sustainable, potential dynasty.
It really leaves you with a final thought about the entire league, doesn't it? In an era of crazy contracts and an ever-tighter salary cap, maybe this is the new model for winning. A disciplined focus on finding and keeping real, quantifiable value, while other teams get distracted by just chasing the biggest names for the headlines. What do you think? Is this the smart way to build a champion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure you subscribe to NFL Nexus for more breakdowns like this. Thanks for watching.
And before you head out, if you're looking for a fun way to support the channel, we actually have a line of coloring books that are perfect for football fans of all ages. For your kids, grandkids, or hey, even for yourself. You can find them by using the QR code on the screen or just by clicking the link right in the description. Your support truly helps us keep making content just like this. We'll see you next time.